Jordan Addison over 44.5 receiving yards. We're going to take the Vikings plus 6.5 to cover the spread.
We're going to look at TJ Hawkinson for an anytime touchdown. I think what we need to consider is Jalen Hurts for first team touchdown.
So for my first one, I'm going with A.J. Brown under 5.5 receptions. Alexander Madison under 47.5 rush yards.
Plus 1593. I'm feeling good. Would you look at that? I'm in a room full of champions. Congratulations, fellas. Not only 6-0 in last week's bets, but hitting a plus 1593 same game parlay. Welcome into Action Island, our Thursday night winning crew. Gilles Gallant, Sean Koerner, Nick Giffen. Great to see you guys. How are we feeling?
Yeah, feeling great.
Let's go 6-0 again.
Yeah,
This is all good juju. This is week 3 and week 2. We're already hitting parlays. I couldn't feel any better. We've got a great show for everyone. If you're new to Action Island, it's fun, game show-esque style. Present 2 bets. Each panel will get the option. At the end, we'll vote one on, vote one off. You'll have a 3-leg same game parlay. Niners, Giants tonight. It's a fun one. It's a crazy one. Tons of injuries. Niners minus 10. The injuries are changing the lines a bit, so bear with us as we get the right numbers for you. At the end, you'll be able to bet this on FanDuel Sportsbook. We are presented by FanDuel. Action Island is presented by them. Get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet $5 on any Week 3 game. For new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Terms and conditions do apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. I'm feeling good about this one. It's a crazy one due to the injuries. The Niners are going to be without Brandon Ayuk. That was just recently reported. That's why the lines have been shifting. On the Giants side, they'll be without Saquon Barkley, their leading rusher, dealing with an ankle injury. Not only that, the Giants don't have an offensive line right now. Left guard's out, left tackle's out. Pass protection is going to be a mess for Daniel Jones. Makes sense why we're seeing Niners lay the points that they are. Also a low total right now that's been shifting, currently at 42.5. With the information that we have, we will build you another parlay and get you some winning bets. Let's start off with Gilles. What are we looking at for our first leg?
Sure. So we're going to start on the 49ers side, and we're going to take arguably the most versatile threat on the 49ers. It's not Christain McCaffrey. We're going with Deebo Samuel for an anytime touchdown. He's around plus 115, plus 120. And much like Christain McCaffrey, he'll get red zone looks, whether it be rushing the ball or receiving the ball. And the difference is we can get this around plus 120 as opposed to minus 230, whatever anytime touchdown odds that are obscene, for Christain McCaffrey at this stage. It's also worth noting the Giants have allowed 5 rushing touchdowns in 2 games, and they play a ton of man coverage. They blitz a ton as well. That means I think the quick throws are going to be in order from Brock Purdy. This means the Deebo dump off, I think it's in play. You could see a lot of yards after catch here. So Deebo Samuel, anytime touchdown, is my first bet. This next one, though, it kind of pains me because I have to fade one of my guys. He's an Action Island colleague, Charlie DeSturco. He gave out Daniel Jones over 39.5 rushing yards. And I like the under in this spot because the Niners only allowed 12.5 rush yards per game, 2 quarterbacks last year. Through 2 games, 21 yards total. If you look at Jones's historics, 16 games last year, this went under in 10 of them. And he played against some pretty good defenses last year. He had 4 games last year versus teams that ranked top 10 in rush yards allowed per game. Well, he went under in 3 of those 4 games, averaged around 33 yards per game. I think we're looking too much at week 1 and week 2 here because week 1, it was different circumstances. They're blown out. The Cowboys don't care in the second half. And then so that's garbage time. And then Daniel Jones and the Cardinals, they're in complete comeback mode. So Daniel Jones just went in superhuman strength. I don't think he's going to be able to pull that off against the Niners, especially when the run defense is a top 5 unit. They're going to have to make the Giants throw the ball. So Daniel Jones under 39.5 rushing yards is my second best bet.
It's easy to think of Daniel Jones and say he's going to run the ball, especially with Saquon Barkley out. But you have to look at this Niners defense, who only allowed 12.5 rushing yards to quarterbacks last season. Daniel Jones hasn't typically done well against top 10 rushing defense. I like where you're headed with Daniel Jones. For Deebo Samuel, I'm all over him. He's been an anytime touchdown bet for me last week, which cashed. And he's going to be the player that you use a lot with Ayuk out. He's a dual threat player, a Swiss Army knife style, much better value than Christain McCaffrey. He should find a way in the end zone, whether that be on the ground or through the air. 2 bets underway. Get to voting. Let's find our first leg to this parlay. Three, two, one. Present your bets, fella. What are we looking at for our first leg? Daniel Jones. We're throwing away Deebo. That's okay because I like both of these bets, honestly. And if we're going to base anything off of last week, we could build a 6-leg parlay at this point and go crazy with the value. Deebo Samuel, sorry to see you go. Daniel Jones under his rushing yards. This Niners defense is just too elite to be not being able to hold up Daniel Jones. Nick, what did you see in this one?
Yeah, I think this one's pretty interesting. For me, though, the New York Giants, they play a lot of man defense, and Deebo Samuel has been a little bit better against zone defenses than man defense with Brandon Ayuk out. He's kind of the man beater. But unfortunately, for Deebo Samuel, that's just not the case. He's much better versus zone defense. Plus, I think Daniel Jones, while he might get some scramble volume, San Francisco really good at stopping the scramble in terms of yards allowed per rush.
Not only that, the Niners are a 10-point favorite. Do we think that Daniel Jones is going to bring the Giants into victory by running the ball? He's going to have to throw it even with a banged up offensive line. Sean, where was your head on this first leg of the parlay?
I think Deebo has a big game tonight without Brandon Ayuk, but I already locked in the under 44.5 on this game. So I want a disgusting low scoring game. I don't want to be rooting for touchdowns. So I agreed with Gilles on his Daniel Jones analysis. Like, the Niners aren't going to be fooled. They know that Daniel Jones is going to want to scramble. I think they'll have a plan in place to contain him at least. So he, like Nick said, he might get some scrambles off, but he won't get huge chunk gains. So I like the under 39.5 as well.
Gentlemen, I'm feeling good already. I don't know if it's because we've already set a winning record in week 2. Daniel Jones under his rushing yards. That's our first leg of the parlay. Sean, where are we looking for the second leg?
So like I said, I like the under in this game. I got it at 44.5. It's down to 42.5 eventually. Like, I still like it at 42.5. But the Giants, they're going to be without Saquon Barkley. They're going to be without 2 starting offensive linemen. So they're going to have a tougher time just moving the ball against the Niners defense that ranks 2nd in DVOA. So it's unlikely they're going to put up enough points to really keep the 49ers offense foot on the gas for all 4 quarters. And without Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers offense will probably be a little bit more run heavy. They're probably going to be less willing to throw the ball downfield. So it's going to lower their output as well. And Sean Hockey is going to be reffing this game. The unders have gone 56% in his career. And one of the reasons is he loves calling holding. I think it's the best penalty to kind of show off the biceps he got from his father. But he ranks in the top 3 every year in holding calls. So expect a ton of holding calls tonight. It's going to slow things down, and it's really good for the under. So bunch of reasons to like the under tonight.
I like the under as well. A sloppy Thursday night game. It might not be the most entertaining, but it does get us this parlay win. This offensive line being a mess is not going to help Daniel Jones throw the ball much, which means what is this offense going to do without their run game and without their pass game? I see the Niners just being able to run it with Elijah Mitchell, take a step back and say, McCaffrey, you got the night off pretty much. Where else are you looking for the second leg?
So for my second leg, I'm going with Matt Breida under 31.5 rushing yards. Now he's expected to get the start tonight for Saquon Barkley. However, we could see, more of a 2 to 3-way committee. They still have Gary Brightwell. The rookie Eric Gray could mix in. And like I said, the Giants are missing 2 starting offensive linemen and facing a Niners defense that ranks 2nd in DVOA against the run. So it's going to be tough for them to move the ball on the ground. I could see them maybe setting up some screen passes to Matt Breida as sort of an extension of the run game, but I don't think he's going to see many designed rush attempts or be efficient on those anyway. And it should be a pass-heavy game script for the Giants anyway. So, I'm projecting this closer to 27.5 and like the under 31.5.
The only start that Matt Breida got last year was in week 18. Backups were in, so it's a little bit hard to evaluate that. He was okay on the ground, through the air. It was really bad, not efficient in the slightest, which leads to your point of Eric Gray. Gary Brightwell might be getting some more split carries along in that run game. I like where you're headed with Matt Breida under as well as game under. Not up to me, though. Boys are also included in this. Let's get the voting going. What are we looking at for our second leg? Three, two, one. Present the bets. The second leg of this parlay will be as following. This is why you guys are the experts. This is why I'm voting all of my stuff out. I'm listening to you. My vote doesn't count. Matt Breida, you're staying in. Total's going out. But again, reminder, this crew right here went 6-0. Listen to us, do a 3-leg parlay or do a 6-leg parlay and win big. All right, I like Matt Breida under his rushing yards. It's going to be really difficult for his outing this season to be against a Niners top run defense. You can't go wrong with either of these bets. I feel comfortable getting rid of the total and sticking with Matt Breida under. Jill, what were you looking at with this one?
I think Sean put it best. I mean, the offensive line is banged up. This isn't Saquon Barkley running behind this offensive line. And I think if anything, he's going to be involved in the passing game for quick dump offs because the pass rush is going to be too ferocious for them to really deal with. So I think under rushing yards for Jones and Breida, I think that sounds perfectly correlated.
I completely agree. Nick, why did you stick with Breida over the total?
Yeah, a couple factors here. It seems like this might be kind of anti-correlated with Jones going under his rush yards and Breida going under his rush yards, and FanDuel's actually priced it that way where it's not juicing it down even more for correlation. So we actually get a little bit better odds here by taking this than if we were to take the under 42.5 where they do have that correlation priced in. And also my Bet What Happens Live model for my live show later tonight during the game likes Breida to go under his rush attempts as well. So I'm definitely going to side with Sean on this one on the under rush attempts.
A gritty Thursday night, slugfest, boring Thursday night game. But at the end of it, you can cash out big. I like where we're headed, fellas. We have 2 legs to our parlay already. We're looking at Breida under his rushing yards. We're looking at Daniel Jones under his rushing yards. We're looking for the Giants offense not to be able to do anything at this point. All right, where are we looking for our final leg, Nick?
Yeah, final leg, first pick for me. I'm going to take George Kittle under 50.5 receiving yards. This did jump up on that Brandon Ayuk news from around 46.5 to 50.5 or so is where it seems to have settled in. But here, the Giants, they are a heavy blitz team. They have blitzed the most since the start of last year, of course, when Daboll became head coach of the Giants. And Kittle has struggled against heavy blitz teams versus teams that blitz more than 25% of the time. He only has 34.5 receiving yards per game since the start of last year. And for teams that have blitzed under 25% of the time, he has 84 receiving yards per game. He's gone over in 4 of those 5 versus under in 2 of 10 against heavy blitz team under this 50.5 receiving yards number. It becomes even more drastic, these splits, when we just look at Brock Purdy starts with Kittle in these splits. Even more drastic. And of course, we talked about how Giants, they play so much man coverage, one of the highest rates in the NFL as well. Well, Kittle throughout his career has been, like Deebo Samuel, much better versus zone coverage than versus man coverage in terms of yards per route run. So I think this is just a great spot to go under on George Kittle based off the way the Giants scheme up.
50.5 seems quite inflated for Ayuk's absence. Kittle only had 30 receiving yards last week, 19 the week prior. Maybe we see a little bit higher than 30 against this Giants defense. 50 seems like an overreaction. Where are we looking for our second leg, Nick, or our second option for our third leg?
Yeah, so much like Sean, I like the under in this game, but I'm specifically going to look at San Francisco 49ers under 27.5 points. It briefly ticked down to 26.5 with the Ayuk news, but it's back up to 27.5. This is an ugly Thursday night football game. We're rooting for unders here. I mean, we're basically taking everything under, I guess, except that Deebo Samuel anytime touchdown that Gilles gave out. But it just Ayuk being out reduces San Francisco's ability to go deep, as he said. Both Purdy and Kittle struggle for the blitz, as I mentioned. And to cap it all off, our Action Network luck rankings has San Francisco as the lowest luck team total of the week at a minus 13.2 rating. And that's because San Francisco has scored this year 7 points more than expected based off of all the plays they've run. And the Giants have allowed nearly 20 points more than expected. So when you combine all of that, the luck rankings say San Francisco under as well.
As much as I wanted to root for the Giants this season, I was high on them during the offseason. It just feels like this isn't the game to back New York. And it feels like almost a bye week for San Francisco at this point. I like where you're looking at a kind of under slow pace game for not only the total as the game, but for San Francisco in particular, which means that they would be leaning on that run game instead of trying to get those downfield passes. Fellas, let's get to voting. Let's finish this parlay and get our third leg. Is it Kittle or is it team total under? 3, 2, 1, present the votes. And just like that, we have a 3-leg same game parlay. And the last leg we all agree on, George Kittle going under his receiving yards. This is not going to be a downfield crazy scoring game. I'm sorry for those who want that high-paced Thursday night. Take your nap now, cash your tickets later. We've got a same game parlay for you. Let's recap what we've got. We've got George Kittle under 50.5 receiving yards, Daniel Jones under 39.5 rushing yards, and Matt Breida under 31.5 rushing yards. When you combined all this together, you get plus 616. And if you want to throw in a little bonus bet, as always, take a peek maybe at Elijah Mitchell. I'm not trying to mess up our algorithm here with the unders, but someone's going to have to run something. Elijah Mitchell, his rushing yard line's at 32.5. Think about taking the over there. I don't feel like this correlates with where we're at right now. Still see this as a slow-paced, low-scoring game. Gilles, Sean, Nick, let's win again. By the way, let's take a peek back at the leaderboard where we're at. Thursday Night Football crew crushing the rest of everyone. Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, they can't compete. We're up by 2 already just from Monday Night Football. And not to mention, let's just be real honest, Sunday night, Monday night, they haven't hit a parlay yet. You guys are the real deal. Show us how we can do it again. Go cash all your tickets, make your same game parlay bets on FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll be back next Thursday to win yet another game. Good luck. Catch you here next time. Action Island.